Richard Bach's literary masterpiece, called Jonathan Livingston Seagull, is a short novel published in 1970 and bound to become a bestseller as well as a cult book for young people. The core around which the story develops is the theme of flight as a metaphor for life and freedom. It is no coincidence that Richard Bach is an aviator who uses his professional knowledge to write his novel. He takes inspiration from the real-life story of the stunt pilot John Livingston. Jonathan is the protagonist of the book. He is a young seagull with big ambitions who wants to fly at tremendous speeds and make his technique perfect. His love of flying sets him apart from the other gulls, and he is even ready to defy his parents just to follow his dream. His rebel and stubborn mindset is in sharp contrast with the banality of the other gulls whose sole purpose is to eat. He is soon banned from his stock, and this makes him feel lonely and uncomfortable. Nonetheless, despite his fears and all the difficulties, the brave gull goes on. One day, while he is experimenting with aerodynamics and practicing steep dives, he meets two gulls with a shining plumage who will drive him into another dimension where he can share his passions with them. The two characters important for his personal growth are Sullivan and Chang. The first one is his mentor, while the second one is the eldest gull who will teach him how to reach perfection through the use of thinking. Perfection is within us, and the all-important thing is to share the love and the knowledge. Jonathan, by now source of knowledge, returns his flock and creates his disciples. Among them, there is Fletcher, in whom Jonathan sees himself. Once imparted his knowledge, the protagonist has accomplished his task and vanishes into thin air. Bartlett's 1973 film is based on this novel and takes inspiration from it in terms of plot, themes, cultural and philosophical references, setting, and dialogues. The director sets the story in the stunning natural sceneries of the U.S. The coastal landscape combined with Neil Diamond's soundtrack seems to reproduce the excitement felt by Jonathan during his acrobatics. Despite the differences in duration and the difficulties of using seagulls as actors, Bartlett is able to capture the essence of the novel and to render the protagonist's personal social growth. Both of them address the issue of flying as a metaphor for detachment from corporeal and terrestrial limits. Jonathan's story seems to be a reaction against the consequences of American economic boom and consumerism of the 50s. It is an antithesis of the worst of an industrialized society. If Bach dwells on these contents using a relatively high linguistic register as well as long descriptions, Bartlett is able to communicate the same message more briefly, but no less effectively. The differences between these two masterpieces are hard to catch. Bartlett materializes the characters described in black and white by Bach, and his stream of words is translated in a sequence of images which deserves the reader's attention. When Jonathan meets the two perfect seagulls with their shining plumage, the director uses the image of a reddish sky as background. The result is a poetic scene accompanied by the sound of violins reminding to angelic choirs. It is evident Bartlett remains almost entirely faithful to the book. Nonetheless, two important differences can be found in the intrigue. Firstly, the presence of Maureen, who seems to share a platonic love with the protagonist and to take his mentor's place in the film, whose name is Sullivan. Secondly, the director prefers to describe Master Chiang's death through a symbolic fading between the few clouds of a clear sky. These controversies are minimal and they have no impact on what the authors want to communicate. In the last part of both works, the message is clear, and dialogues are the same. Don't believe what your eyes are telling you. All they show is limitation. Look with your understanding. Find out what you already know and you will see the way to fly. The implicit reference to Siddhartha concludes both works and suggests us, readers and spectators, a deep reflection. In order to find happiness, everyone should learn how to know himself, because it is inward that we will find all the answers. Everyone should be on his way and make better use of his capacities. It is fundamental not to lose sight of our goals. Paying attention to our nature can initially make us mistaken, but wonderfully free. And the best gift to give is helping the others understand what they really want to do in life. Because, as Bach affirms and Bartlett represents, Jonathan is that vivid little fire that burns within us, that lives only in those moments in which we reach perfection. It is no coincidence that the author dedicates his book to a special reader and writes, "To the real Jonathan Seagull, who lives within us all."